All right, welcome to today's lesson. So I've had a question from Skate Gamer. I'm finding it really hard to learn how to use a metronome with songs. I understand how to count and am able to do it with simpler music, but some songs I have memorized, like The Worst by Polyphia, just doesn't work for me. I got a song down at a lower speed, just can't use a metronome. Any tips? In this video, we're going to cover a few ways that you can get unstuck finding the beat, because being able to use a metronome is like 1% of learning how to find the beat in the music. We're going to look at anacrusis, which are things that they're like the pickup beat, which here's a definition. We're going to look at anticipation, accents, time signature changes, all those different things that draw into the confusion that can happen. And I'm going to give you some examples in my own music, some examples you can check out on your own, and yeah, basically we'll go from there. But the first things to know is that it mostly boils down to the body feel. So if your body is moving in a certain pulse and you feel like you've lost where the one is, or where, like you can't really count it anymore, but your body still moves in that same groove, it means that you've got lost, but the music hasn't changed. When your body movement no longer works with the music, then the time signature is changed. You know that without a doubt. And I've got a couple of examples where your body won't change, but the music will get lost anyway. But that's for later. I'll explain that towards the end of the video. Now, there's a couple of things. So mostly what you want to do is listen for the kick and the snare. Most of the time, the kick is going to be on the 1 and the 3, and the snare is going to be on the 2 and the 4. Failing that, if it's a really syncopated rhythm, listen for the hi-hat, because that's usually going to be 1, 2, like all those metal breakdowns, the hi-hat's just going or a crash or something, while the drums go absolutely nuts and all the things, the accents are all over the place. I actually listened to that Polyphia song, and it is in 4/4. Every single Polyphia song that I've heard, and now I haven't heard that many Polyphia songs, they're all in straight 4/4. So it's just that the accents start getting really weird towards the end, because they're not trying to confuse you, they're just trying to get some groove in there, because without that, the song would start to get boring and repetitive. Now, this first example I've got, it's just a verse of one of my songs called Summer Rain. This is on all streaming platforms and stuff, so if you like it, give it a listen there. I'll leave some links, but just see what you can do to try and count this.
Summer rain came seemingly from nowhere and broke the trust I thought was true. She gave no reason for
So,
this.
if you guessed 4/4, you got it.
Not a word, and then we were through.
Just listen to this part and see if you can count it accurately as well. Of course, there's no metronome, so this is purely on you.
Summer rain is calling me. I don't know what I did wrong. Seasonal bliss I don't need. I'll just sit alone.
So once again, if you thought that was 4/4, you're absolutely correct, right? Now, some way that people can get unstuck is they follow the accents. So here I've got the metronome following the accents, not following the body feel.
Summer rain is calling me. I don't know what I did wrong.
You see how wrong that feels?
Bliss I don't need.
Like it feels like
I'll just sit alone.
it feels like the metronome's kind of working against the music there. So this next example is on the beat as it should be, and you'll see how much better that feels.
Summer rain is calling me. I don't know what I did wrong. Seasonal bliss I don't need. I'll just sit alone.
You see that felt much better. I mean, apparently I didn't line it up right, but it felt accurate. Now, when you've got a program like this, I'm convinced that GarageBand would do something similar. Once you suspect you've got the right tempo and beats, click through the song with the metronome on, and you should get a result like this. I've had to copy and paste this.
Summer rain came seemingly from nowhere. Rain is calling
See, it doesn't matter what section of the song I have cut to, it all works with the metronome being consistent. Hectic solo guy. All right, so with that, we can see pretty clearly that when you get it right, there's no way that it can be anything different. This next example is a lot more confusing. So because we have multiple things working here. So in this, the lyrics come in with an anacrusis. So what an anacrusis is it's just a pickup bar. It just means that it like leads into where the beat is. So if people are counting from there, they're counting from the wrong spot. Not only that, but we've got some dotted rhythms here. So, and it doesn't actually mean that much, but if you follow what the music is doing, you're going to end up in the wrong spot. And I've got examples for both. For this, at first, we're going to do the same as what we did last time. We're going to listen to the music and just try and count it ourselves. It is a lot more difficult than the last song though, but it's not impossible. So give this a listen and yeah.
I feel powerless against your breath. I can't follow this if it's your wish.
Okay, so whatever you've got there, just keep that in mind. The first metronome, as the same as last time, it's going to be on the accents, and see how this feels. See if you think it's accurate. It's starting to sound pretty weird to me.
I feel powerless against your
The metronome's nowhere near it should be. It's just, it's kind of ruining everything.
if it's your wish.
You know, and then great signifier, the second verse starts on the 2 of the beat, which is, it's just totally wrong. So now with this one, we've got it lining up on the actual rhythm. So if you counted it right first, then this should sound very accurate to you. Well, it's going to sound accurate to everyone, even if you counted it different before. But have a listen to this and see how this works together. Notice the anacrusis with the lyrics. So they come up a bit before the beat starts.
I feel powerless
See how absolutely everything works here.
against your breath.
And once again, we're in straight 4/4.
If it's your wish.
And then we roll into the verse perfectly. These are a couple of things that you just got to keep in mind. And the most important one there, because a lot of people get stuck on this, is the anacrusis. And it's actually an amazing compositional tool to move where the phrase starts. So for this example, it's 1, 2, I feel powerless, 2, 3, 4, right? So there's 2 whole beats of an anacrusis. If I had have put that after the beat or before or right on, the whole chorus would have sounded totally different. Now we've got another example of when we're just kind of cutting the song up, keeping it to a metronome, seeing if it stays that way the entire song. So you can see how nothing in this song sounds wrong. Like it all works with that metronome. There are a few ways that you can kind of identify that the song stays the way that it does. Now, if any of these tools don't work, so say for example, you set it at 4/4 and you click halfway through the track and all of a sudden it is totally wrong, there's two options that may have gone wrong. One is you've got the wrong tempo. Now, to know if the tempo is right, all you need to do is have it roll for a while with what you think is accurate. And if it kind of starts moving away from the beat, it means that you've got the wrong tempo. Now, this is a kind of difficult one to do. The easiest way that I find it is you get the tap tempo. So that whatever app you're using on Ableton, it's here where there's the tap tempo. But every app has a tap tempo, and you just do your best to get a ballpark figure on where the actual tempo is, and then you adjust it slightly from there. Failing that, if it's perfect, and then, at an interesting point in the song, or like at some point in the song, all of a sudden the metronome stopped working, it means that you've either got a tempo change or a time signature change. Most likely a time signature change. Tempo changes are quite a difficult compositional tool, so a lot of people avoid them, including myself, unless it's like a slow ramp up or slow down or something. So with both those examples, all you really needed to do was listen to the kick and the snare. And I do want to say I didn't use my music just to show everyone, my music. It's more that I just don't want it to get copyright taken down. Or if there is a copyright claim on my own music, then I'm going to slap someone. The principles are still the same. What I really highly recommend with this is just listen to the radio or listen to your Spotify, whatever, and just count. Just get used to counting. Where might the one be? The one is usually on the start of a phrase. It's usually on where there's any significant change. So, if like dance music is really, really, really good for it because it builds up, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and it usually never strays from that. However, if you want to count an interesting dance song, listen to Hey Brother by Avicii. That is in 4/4 and 6/4. Right? If you're really getting lost when you're counting that bar of 6/4, count a bar of 1, 2. Now, if you just do that, it is just in the first verse, so it's pretty quick that you start hearing that there's these things changing. See what comes up with that part, because I just find it really interesting that being a mixed meter song was such a popular song at the time. It's like everything else was just straight 4/4, and then there's this one song that comes out with mixed meter. I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. Equally, there's The Glass Prison by Dream Theater. If you listen from the 2-minute 10 mark, there is bars of 4/4, bars of 6/4. Now, I'm going to point out that the drums do change accents. So the drums do one of those rare things where the drums are doing like 1 and 3 on the kick and 2 and 4 on the snare. But halfway through that riff, the drums change to doing 1 and 3 on the snare and 2 and 4 on the kick. However, there is also bars of 6/4 in there. So if you count it, don't get fooled to think that when the snare and kick change, that is not the start of the bar of 6/4. So that's all the warning I'm going to give you on that one. It's pretty easy to count when you get it, but at first it will be confusing because there is a lot going on. It's Dream Theater. But to wrap all this up, it kind of all boils down to body feel. And if you get your body moving in a certain rhythm and you don't stop that rhythm and it seems to work through the entire song, then it's very likely that the song just stays in 4/4 the entire time. Unless there's something weird where all of a sudden your body's not moving to the beat at all. And so then the final example that I'm going to give you as homework or whatever is this song by the Crooked Fiddle Band, right? And this is from this timestamp that I'm leaving. It depends on which way you want to count it. I'm counting it as 1 bar of 4/4, 1 bar of 3/4, 1 bar of 4/4, and 1 bar of 3/4. Yeah, and alternatively, you can just count to 7. But I find it easier because the first bar feels like a bar of 4/4, the second bar feels like a bar of 3/4. If you are really struggling with this, listen to this song and chuck your metronome on, because the whole song is the same tempo. But when it comes to that part, you'll notice that the metronome falls correct, kind of weird, really weird, and then it just kind of keeps getting weirder until the next section starts. And now this is only 14 bars of music, so it's not that long. But the next kind of verse thing, because it is instrumental, starts on the second beat of the bar. So whilst we haven't lost any beats, we haven't kind of done any of that type of stuff, it's not too weird, we're starting the phrase on a weak position. So give that a count. Really like try and understand, but it is pretty simple. If you're just counting along with the metronome, if you just count 1 bar of 4, 1 bar of 3, 1 bar of 4, and then 1 bar of 3, you're going to have everything sorted, and then all of a sudden you'll be into the next verse. And as I said before, do this with every single thing until you get used to it. When it comes to using a metronome, it's just a case of, you remove the music, but you're keeping these things in mind. I think this is an important point to share. So the song that I'm currently working on, I have it all transcribed. I'm just kind of learning it so that then I can teach it. The first 90 seconds of The Odd Father has 18 time signature changes in it. That's not an easy amount. I'm not a drummer. Inside Ableton, I just had it set to the metronome. It was 150 BPM. And then, as John Petrucci loves to do, there's a bar of 5/4, and then there's a bar of 4/4, and then there's a bar of 7/4, and then there's a bar of 5/8. And when I'm listening to the song with the metronome on, when it's 4/4, it's like very, very quickly, it stops being accurate, and then, and this is the power of having one of these programs to be able to use, because you can immediately identify, oh, the next bar's started, but the metronome's now wrong. Was that next bar a beat early or a beat late, or half a beat early or half a beat late, or a beat and a half early, or whatever, and then when you get the next accent, you can very easily calculate how far it should be, and then you just try it. So say, for example, on a bar from 7/4 to 5/8, it's, if we're in 7/4, like if the metronome's in 7/4, then we have our first 7 beats are perfect, and then the next 7 beats we're like getting a really tiny amount of information. We're getting 5 half beats before the next feel change comes in, whereas the metronome's anticipating 7 full beats. So it's just a tiny, tiny amount of information that we're getting. So, okay, here I can hear that it changes here. This feels like the start of a new idea. And then so we line it up. Okay, how long is that distance? It's, 5 half beats. So then I change that 1 bar to be a bar of 5/8, and then change that back to being 7/4. If that whole phrase works together, then I know that I've got everything working right. The moment that that's not working right again, then I know that I need to change it up. With that Polyphia song, listen to the metronome while you're listening to the song so you can see where the parts lie. When you change the speed of the song, make sure the metronome matches that, so you get used to how the metronome is actually just kind of outlining exactly where everything is. It's not anything different. In this, I think it's one of the most important things is to be able to use a metronome for your playing, because every single time I'm struggling with something and I'm not using a metronome, the minute that I pick up a metronome and start trying to work on it, I immediately get better. Right? It may take some smoothing out. It may take a little bit of time to get used to hearing it with the metronome. But as soon as I'm used to it with the metronome, then I can play it with the music a hell of a lot easier. I hope that cleared things up. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know if I didn't answer your question in this one. I feel like I may not have answered your specific question, but I feel like it was a lack of understanding of what a metronome is used for rather than how to use it. If you still don't know how to use it, then let me know, and we'll go from there. Like I'll make another video about this. And yeah, like it if you liked it. Don't if you didn't. Subscribe if you haven't. Listen to my music if you like it. And I will see you all next week. Bye.